Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to those that support this channel, that have been viewing and listening to my videos, have been liking and sharing the videos. I appreciate your support. Good morning. I hope everyone had an awesome weekend. The weekend is over. The work week is now here. Shout out to the chat. This is your home girl, Arabia Barbosa, 914 Westchester County, New York. Unfortunately, we're still in South Carolina. We have already lived through Tropical Storm Debbie, and we're getting ready to work with the new branch. Well, not the new branch, but the other branch of my company this week. It's going to be a lot of confusion, but I have to do it for at least a couple of days. My bills are paid up, so, but I still need to, take care of me. A shout out to the chat. As you can see, good morning. Good morning, Tamika. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for supporting the channel. Yes, ma'am. I don't know if anyone knows. I tried to report about this last week straight through YouTube, but I'm going to report on it again. The Supreme Court just recently gave its opinion of what should be happening to the homeless population that's in this country. If you are caught outside camping, living without shelter, wherever you are living, which community you're living in, which city you're living in, which state you're living in, they now have the power to give you tickets, to ticket you, and to arrest you. You know how many homeless people are out there now? And I understand, trust me, I understand that the homeless situation needs to be addressed. I understand, yes, Tamika, it is happening. They just passed it uh, just before Tropical Storm Debbie came through South Carolina. They just passed it. I reported it last Monday. I'm reporting it this Monday because I want it documented on this channel, that I want people to know. And in some cases, it needs to be done. And I don't mean no harm. I used to be out there, and I know how dangerous it is. Sleeping on a bench somewhere, sleeping in someone's doorway, camping with other people. There were times when I was out there, I used to gather up my money from working a couple of days out of the week, or I would take my tax refund money or any kind of monies I could get, and I would get myself a motel room. And I would take my crew with me. And then I started finding out that the people I was taking with me were ungrateful. The only one, I'm going to tell you, out of all those people I was hanging with, there was only two that seemed to show me a little respect. And shout out to the chat. Well, Tamika, some of the homeless population have gotten out of hand. They like to sleep in certain places, camp out, leave a big mess. Don't you know a lot of homeless women are being raped and killed out there? They can't find the people that are killing these women, so in order to narrow down the suspects. And this is another reason why they're doing it. It's a safety concern. It's a safety concern. Too many women have been disappearing. Yeah. Yeah, I just want it to be understood. I know what they're doing to the homeless is wrong, but I understand why it's happening. And I'm going to tell you something. I was out there too long last time. But this just lets me know, like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. I got a report on that video as well. But yeah, the Supreme Court judges just passed this ruling. So whatever city you're living in, if you're living outside, they have the right to stop you, to question you, to ticket you. They've been doing that in South Carolina. They do it in Columbia, South Carolina. Put the homeless in jails. Matter of fact, they got a big shelter where they put the people at in Columbia, South Carolina now. I don't know if it's still in existing. New York got their shelters. New York City, a lot of people from New York City, they travel down to Westchester County. They go into the big shelters there. Then they transition into the transitional homeless program. So you go to boarding houses, you know what I mean, so to speak. Yeah. But as long as the county is paying for it, it shouldn't be a problem. And a lot of people need to stop living in their cars, need to stop living out there in the street with their kids. It's a health concern. It's a safety concern. I'm sorry. There's no way else of saying it. I feel bad for the veterans that's out there that's going to get caught up in the whirlwind. But they might be doing it also to keep tabs on who's who and where they be, hanging out at. So it might be possible that this is what's going on. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, Tamika. And shout out to my ghost watchers, those that are watching. Appreciate you. Like and share the video. Let's get the message out. Let's get the message out of what's going on in this country. That's why I told you all yesterday what I told you in the video about voting in certain politicians, especially for president and vice president, because it's the president that puts these Supreme Court judges in the seats that they are in, and that is a lifelong appointment. As you know, some of our Supreme Court judges that were Democratic, some of them had passed away. So, of course, the Republicans put in who they wanted on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is reversing a lot of decisions that were made during the 1960s. Oh, yeah, they're going to use that Supreme Court against us, honey. That's why I tell people you got to be careful who you vote in. If these people are not doing nothing for you, don't vote for them. A lot of people feel, well, if we don't vote, then, they're going to take away our voice. They're already taking away your voice. You're already living in a country where they don't give a fuck about you. Yeah. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I'm not going to be up here that long. I just wanted to come up here and report on that. Instead of gossiping about other YouTube creators, I think I'm going to start reporting on current events a little more. because people need to be aware what's going. The price of food is going up. The price of food, pretty soon you won't be able to buy no groceries. Pretty soon, if you don't have food stamps, you're not going to be able to buy any food. It's ridiculous. In certain places in New York City, a carton of eggs is almost $10. Down here in South Carolina, in certain places, they sell a carton of eggs for $3. If you go to Walmart, it's $1.78 for 12 eggs in the carton for right now. Shout out to the chat. The price of food is going up. The price of housing is going up. People can't afford to live in some of these places. And some of these new apartments, I don't mean no harm, they're going to have to lower the rent for some of these places because people can't afford to live in those places. But what it is, they're preparing a certain amount of the population to be institutionalized. Oh, it's coming down to it. It's coming down to it. You're going to have to make a choice. Your freedom, what little freedoms you got, or do you bend to the will of the government? Instead of the Supreme Court passing all these decisions and opinions, they should be doing other things. You know, I understand that we have to have 3 branches of government, but we see that it's not working. We see what's going on. If you're running for president, I want to ask a question. I don't know if Vince the Sniper can answer the question, or any other YouTube creator, or anyone. If any one of my subscribers can answer the question. But when someone runs for president and vice president, why do they have to raise all that money just to run? Why do they have to get people to support them with monies? If you're the best man or woman for the job, why is it necessary for you to raise a whole lot of money just to run for president? That doesn't make any sense. It looks like to me they want to leave out the everyday working man and woman, because we got some real people that can actually help get this country back on track. But they don't have a whole lot of money. You know, they're not a Donald Trump. They're not a Vice President Harris. They're not Obama. These people were given silver spoons in their mouths. What happens to those of us that was born with a plastic spoon in our mouth? Some of us was born without a spoon at all. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, I'm trying to have a conversation. I know it's a little too early to have conversations with, people in my chat, but I would like to have a conversation about these subjects. Today is the first day my company, the temp company I'm working for, they're supposed to be combining both of the branches together. I doubt if they're going to have enough work for everyone. I doubt it. So today is Monday. I already know Monday is a no-go. Try Tuesday and Wednesday. Shout out to the chat. But I have to make my money regardless. Now, if I have to walk from here back downtown to the other office, I will have to do that. You know what I mean? But for right now, I just want to talk about these subjects. The price of food going up. We're on the brink of World War III if we're not careful. The Supreme Court has just ruled against the homeless population. We got a lot of people on this app that supports the homeless. They go out there, they give them clothes, they give them food, they support the homeless. They need to be aware of what's getting ready to happen now. In certain places, you can't feed the homeless. You better not. You better not. It's a crime in certain places. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, but that's the only thing I had to say. So everyone needs to be made aware of what's going on. I want them to know what the Supreme Court is doing. I want them to know what the politicians, because the Supreme Court is just nothing but a bunch of politician lawyers. And politics, we all know politics is corrupt as hell. Donald Trump, don't he got convictions on him? He got a jacket from New York where there's a possibility that he can get locked up before November. I'm not saying I want him to win, but it's possible. And anyway, even if he do get back in the chair, the man is 82 years old. I am so sick and tired of these old, ancient, ain't shit white men getting into the White House, making all these racist policies, all these outrageous policies and executive orders, things that don't help our community at all. But I think this is it. I think this is it. And I don't mean no harm. They was waiting for those that lived through Jim Crow to die off so they could really do to us what they want to do to us. Yeah, that's what I believe. Because like I said in one of my videos, I got siblings who don't pass on down what was, what was happening during that time, during the 60s and 50s and 40s and 30s. There's nobody left. My grandmother is still living. She talks about during World War II, what it was like to live in the Jim Crow era, how she worked in the factories, how she had to take care of my father by herself while my grandfather was serving in World War II. My grandfather was he was a Navy man. Shout out to the chat. And he wasn't no good neither. I don't think she should have ever married him. I think she should have married who her father told her to marry. Because if she would have had done that, her life would have been happier and she would have had more money. Sometimes, young ladies, it's not about love. It's about what you can get out of the fucking relationship. Sometimes it's about what you can get out of the fucking relationship. And I'm not encouraging other women to be gold diggers, but I'm telling you, look out for your welfare before you marry these men, before you get involved with them. Because now we got a whole new generation of children being raised by stepfathers. And you know half of those dudes don't give a fuck about your children. Y'all better pay attention to what's going on in the Lion Kingdom. You know there's no such thing as a stepfather in the Lion Kingdom. There's no such thing. I shared it on my community wall how that King Lion, Mr. T, was doing his own siblings. How he got put out of the place he was living because his other brother, Kinky Tail, got killed. So Mr. T had to fight, and he had to run away, and he ran to where his other brothers were at. The other brothers welcomed him in. They welcomed him home, and he turned around and killed all their cubs. And they couldn't do a goddamn thing about it because he was now the alpha male. He was the most dominant male. And he took over the pride. But right after he took over, not too long after that, him and the rest of his brothers passed away. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Thank you, Daughter Design. Thank you for coming in. Good morning. Empress Lonnie, one love. Thank you for coming in. Good morning. I appreciate it. It's so good to see all of you come into the chat. It's really good to see all of you come into the chat. Yeah, but I just wanted to be known. Only thing I wanted to do was report on what was going on in these current events so everyone would be aware. I think I reported some of it last week, but I did it through the YouTube, on the YouTubes. I didn't go through StreamYard, so it didn't stay. But I'm reporting it on through StreamYard today. So I want everyone to know what the Supreme Court is doing. I want everyone to know the price of food is ridiculous. Man, shoot. I remember when the sisters used to go into the store, get 2-3 buggies filled up with food. Now you're coming out the store, you might got 50 items in your car. The price of food has gone up. Everybody laughed when cigarettes went up, but now the price of food is up. Now what you gonna do? Some people got their own gardens. They know how to survive. Shout out to them. Shout out to the chat. But I'm not gonna be here that long. I want to thank everyone for coming in. Good morning. Thank everyone for coming in. Like and share the video. Enjoy your day. Be safe out there, and please think about what I'm telling you. Or do your own research. And maybe next time we can talk about why these politicians, when they run for certain government positions or governor or any kind of judge position, they got to raise all this money to run. And I think they're doing that to keep out the everyday working man and woman. They don't want the ordinary Joe. And half of them people that's in Congress, they getting a good salary for being in Congress. And if they stay there for 30 years or better, they get a pension. I bet a lot of you didn't know that. And if you did know, you should have told me. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I'm out of here. I hope everyone has an awesome day today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Thank you, Tamika. Thank you, Empress Lonnie, one love. Thank you, Daughter of Zion. I want to thank everyone for coming in, and have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. Stay safe. One peace. I'll see you in the next video, or perhaps in someone else's chat. Out of here. Peace.